Alright, it's been a little while since I had time to make a how-to video. It's been very busy lately, but as by popular request, finally getting time to do the 725 Mercedes 9-speed transmission. This one is paired to a 4-cylinder gas engine. Most of them that we're seeing now are paired to the new OM654 4-cylinder diesel engine. So this one's also actually going to be a parts warranty job, and I'll show you why here in just a minute. I'm going to go ahead and go point of view. And also, so my general manager has a 2025 Sprinter that he wants me to do his Agile off-road rip kit install for his suspension. I told him I needed, I needed another camera to be able to do longer recording sessions. That's kind of one of the reasons I haven't done this trans service yet. And he was like, well, what do you need? And I said, a new camera. And he's like, well, I'll buy you one if you do the lift kit on my van. And so he did. So now I have two Insta360s, and when this pod dies, I can take this camera, pop it in, record, and just have one charging while recording with the other. So this is going to be my first attempt at that. We'll see how it works out. So let's get right into the trans service portion. Things you're going to need: 6 quarts of the gold transmission fluid, which is 236.17. You're also going to need a quick disclaimer. So all of my documents, WIS documents, state that you need a diagnostics tool to do the valve flushing and fluid level check. So I'm not going to necessarily say this is a DIY friendly one, but I also don't think it's not possible to do without the diagnostics tool, but I'm going to say warning on that because I've never done it without the diagnostics tool to do the valve flushing and things like that. So with that said, you're going to need a kit like this. This one's from Amazon. I'll link the part number for this, but it's by Billy Tools. Has this flag, which is what you use to change the fill and drain off setting of the transmission pan. Got adapter. We have our own. We don't use that, but we do use this, which goes into the pan and then threads in, and we use our trans filler to pump the fluid in. And then another thing we use along with our diagnostics tool is this, which one of the techs wrote, transmission super ultrasonic sensor of awesomeness, which it is pretty freaking cool because it tells you the fluid level through the pan. I'm just going to go ahead and take this out of here. So you'll need a new trans pan. They come with the filters in them now. But this little guy here locks right into this and detects the fluid level in millimeters, so you can get the correct fluid level based on the current temperature of the transmission fluid. While we're here, we'll go ahead and prep this new trans pan. So you have the fill, can't remember what they call this, but this is what's used to drain off the fluid, fill the fluid, and level correct the fluid. So this just goes in like so, locks in nice and tight both sides, and then this is for the fluid level. So this goes on that port there and works with checking the fluid level. So this just locks on like so. It's on there nice, and then we can put this pan away for a little bit, and then you're going to need 10 new bolts, as they are one-time use. We can leave that there. You're going to need, I always use this 8mm wobbly. Makes it nice for getting to like these bolts here. And then this T30, don't need the wobbly for this one to get the heat shield off of the transmission electrical connector. And a torque wrench that goes down to 4 Newton meters. I have a marker. I was going to mark this to kind of highlight these positions. So this way, we got position 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. We use position 1 as the closed position. That way the engine's running and it's in position 1 and you pull this, it's not going to drain off too much fluid. These two are used for fluid level correction, and this one is used for draining. Get my headlamp. Kind of go over the instructions here. The first step says to thoroughly clean automatic transmission oil pan and the surrounding area, and then we'll go ahead and drain. This also says to determine the drained amount of fluid. Since we're doing a parts warranty, because this one's leaking, I don't know exactly how much fluid is currently in there, so I'm just going to do my standard process, which is filling it with 5.5 quarts and then doing a fluid level correction at 40 degrees Celsius fluid temperature, and with our ultrasonic sensor, it's usually around 54-55 millimeters, which you'll see towards the end of this video. Go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so as you can probably see, there is a good amount of fluid leaking from this transmission. This was serviced somewhere else, and I noticed it during my multi-point inspection. According to my warranty admin, it is covered under a parts warranty. Could have been a seal issue. It could have also been that whoever did it didn't follow the instructions very clearly, and the document states very specifically to make sure the sealing surface is totally dry, or else leaking can occur. I haven't seen that on any of the other service document or trans service documents, just this one, so something to make sure you're paying attention to. So I'd say all in all, like, this trans service is easier, but a little bit more involved, especially because of the diagnostics tool being needed. But as far as like messiness goes, I like the way they have it to where you drain it now, things like that. And it seems to be a little less messy in that aspect. So we're just gonna go ahead and get the draining done. This little socket here is pretty nice. And as you can see, it kind of keeps your hands from getting messy, which is great. And I'm going to take this flag tool here. Kind of feel like that's in the wrong position, but I guess we'll find out when I try to put this in there if it goes to position 1 or one of the others. Well, it's in position 1. Nope, it was in 2. That's position 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's not clicking either. Usually it has a click into position. That's kind of interesting. So we'll go ahead and just drain it. And that's position 4. And right there's the T30 to get this little heat shield off.
Trevor!
What's up, buddy?
What's up, dude?
So, my T30. Yeah, the wobbly probably would have been nice, but take this heat shield off. And then there are 10 bolts holding this transpan on. We can start getting most of those off while it's still draining. think we'll keep one in on this side. And then we'll undo this one, that way the trans pen tips this direction. Oh, I forgot that one. There. Ooh. Still pretty full for draining off that slow. Yeah, usually they don't have that much still in the pan like that. Just kind of let that continue to drip. Alright, it's nice for now. I can honestly just grab the other pan and go right up with it now. Like I said, it's pretty straightforward on this one since the trans pen gets replaced, a lot less cleaning. Huge tip here. Well, I don't know about huge tip, but definitely a money saver. So I popped this in because it locks into the trans pretty good. And then I stepped away to grab bolts one time, and this fell off, hit the ground, bounced, broke. It's a bad day. So I recommend not doing that. Take your trans pan. It's pretty hard to misalign. It locks up in there, like I said, but you want to, you know, get some, at least one bolt in there to keep it from falling down on you. And then we'll just get the other 10 up into place, and then I'll show you the torque sequence. And the torque spec on this is 4 Newton meters and 90 degrees right here. So 4 Newton meters and then 90 degrees. So we'll do that. Go with 4 Newton meters. And there is a tightening sequence. So the sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically just the corners. Doesn't really matter as long as you do it, you know, corner to corner. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. So one thing we'll do here is 90 degrees is just going to be like that. So as long as we get that line to this side, that'll be 90 degrees. We'll go that way. And then we'll eyeball that one. Okay, so the corners, 90. That was a little over 90. 90. 90. And then we'll go to these middle ones. 90. 90. 90. 90. And then this one, we'll just go based off of the ratchet position. 90. And just like that, pan is torqued. Remove the drain plug. As you can see there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Want to be in 1. Double check. Yeah, position 1. We're gonna do 5.5 quarts. One of the warnings the document says is not to fill with a pressure higher than 2 bar. Next tool we're going to need this adapter. Alright, so I'm going to do 5.5 quarts, and then we'll get to this part. Five and a half quarts. While we have this here, let's try and get this shield back into place. That way we don't forget it later. The other thing I want to do real quick, I'll lower it down a little. We're gonna start it for a minute. I like to kind of just cycle the gears a couple times, get the trans fluid moving around, even though it will through the valve flushing and stuff like that. While that's prepping, let's go ahead and get this set up. And we use this grease here on the end of it. As you can see there, gives us a measurement in millimeters. The battery's a little low. I think our screen's about to die on this thing. So we don't have a customer complaint, we're just doing a trans service, so we can select this, continue, continue, then we go to actuations, oil level check, battery voltage is good, and then oil level measurement with ultrasound unit, and then here it tells you what these settings are for. So oil in, position 1, drain, justify, and oil out. So continue. So I need to start it and get the oil temperature above 30 degrees. I'll resume recording once that's reached. Alright, so we just reached the temperature we need. I'm going to let it go just a little longer. That way it doesn't fall below before we get through the process we need to. As you can see, fluid level's gone up quite a bit just by heating up a little glitchy there. Okay. So turn the engine off, turn the ignition back on, continue. And it's doing some valve flushing or bleeding processes. Okay, so now we start it. We need to rev it between 28 and 3,500 RPMs. Back to idle. Neutral. Keep your foot on the brake, set the parking brake if you want to. Now it's doing more bleeding processes. This is kind of why I say I don't know if I'd recommend doing this yourself, unless you have a diagnostics tool to do this process, as it does seem quite important. Park. See, I think we can get out for this next bit. If I remember correctly. So we gotta wait for the trans temp to go up just 3 more degrees. Okay. Put this flag in here. Hopefully you can hear me okay over the engine. You want to make sure you got a nice good like clicking sound in there. It locks in pretty good. Kind of show you what happens. So if I if I turn this to drain off some fluid, see it go down quite a bit. I know from my notes that 50, 60 millimeters is about where it'll be. No more leaks. Almost there. Alright, now we can continue on. So 43 millimeters is what we want for the target. Minimum is 39 and maximum is 47. Okay, 43 millimeters, as you can see there. Take this out, put this back in. Alright, just like that. And that's how you do the trans service on 9-speed automatic transmission. If you like the video, go ahead and give it a like, comment any suggestions down below, and subscribe to my channel.